Have you ever dreamed of building an AI that can actually plan, execute, and finish complex goals all on its own? Well, if that sounds exciting, then you've got to know about a framework called SuperAGI. We're going to break down exactly what it is, how it works, and who it's for.
I mean, just think about that for a second. We're not talking about a managed team of little AI specialists that you have to oversee. We're talking about a single, independent AI that you can hand a big, messy objective to and just let it run. This is the whole idea behind SuperAGI, and it's a really different and fascinating path for where AI could be heading.
So to really get why a framework like SuperAGI even needs to exist, we first have to look at the massive challenge it was built to solve.
Look, trying to build a truly autonomous agent from scratch is, well, it's a huge engineering headache. You've got to figure out how it's going to plan and reason through complex problems. Then, how does it know which tool to use, like a web search or an API call, and when? And you need to build a memory system so it can actually learn and keep track of its progress. It's just a mountain of work for any one developer to tackle.
And this is exactly where SuperAGI comes in. Instead of making every developer reinvent the wheel, it provides a solid foundation, a launchpad, built from the ground up to help you create independent agents right from the start.
Let's be really clear on this word, autonomy. This isn't just about an AI running a simple script. No, this is about giving an agent a high-level goal and trusting it to figure out the how. It's about empowering it to make its own decisions, change its strategy on the fly, and see a job all the way through without you holding its hand.
And here you can really see the fork in the road. On one side, you have frameworks like CrewAI or AutoGen, which are all about team collaboration. You know, you have a writer agent, a coder agent, a reviewer agent, and they all work together. But SuperAGI, it takes a totally different path. It's laser-focused on making a single agent as smart and independent as humanly or inhumanly possible.
You know, this analogy just nails it. Using a multi-agent system is kind of like being a project manager. You're coordinating the team, checking in, making sure everyone's on track, but using SuperAGI, that's like hiring a world-class solo expert. You give them the brief, you trust their process, and you come back when the work is done. It's a completely different way of working with AI. Okay, theory is great, but what does this autonomy actually look like in practice? Let's walk through a real-world example to make it totally concrete.
So imagine you give a SuperAGI agent a simple goal. Research my top competitors and write up a comparison report. The agent itself figures out the entire game plan. It plans its search strategy, it goes out and executes those web searches, it analyzes all the data to find the juicy insights, and then it pulls it all together into a clean, final report. And the real magic? It does all of this without you telling it what to do step by step.
So, what's the secret sauce here? How does SuperAGI actually make this kind of self-directed work happen? Well, it gives developers a really powerful toolkit with a few core components that all work together. Let's see how these pieces fit. The agent core is basically the brain. It does all the big picture thinking and planning. But a brain needs hands, right? That's where tool integration comes in, letting the agent grab whatever tool it needs for the job. And to make sure it's not just making the same mistakes over and over, the memory system lets it learn from what worked and what didn't. And the best part? It's all open source, so that deployment component is your personal workshop, letting you build and tweak agents for whatever you can dream up.
So you might be asking, is this for me? Well, primarily, this is for the builders, the pioneers, the folks who are right on the cutting edge of AI. If you're an AI researcher, a hardcore developer, or just an innovator who loves to experiment and push the boundaries of what's possible with a single, super capable agent, then yeah, SuperAGI was made for you.
All right, let's get down to brass tacks. Is SuperAGI the right tool for your next project? This quick checklist should help you decide whether to jump in or maybe look at something else.
You should absolutely go for SuperAGI if you're experimenting with maximum autonomy, if you're building a custom open source agent, or if you need an AI for a big research project. But on the flip side, if you need something super stable for a production environment right now, if you're just starting out, or if your whole project is about multiple agents working together, you'll probably be better off with a framework like CrewAI.
And this is a really, really important heads up. SuperAGI is incredibly powerful and exciting, but it's still an experimental framework. It's in active development, which means it's for people who are okay with being on the frontier and maybe even helping to shape the future of this technology.
Okay, let's bring it all home. What are the key things to remember, and what's the big question this all leads to?
So, if you only remember a few things, make it these. SuperAGI is an open-source framework for building single, autonomous AI agents. Its whole philosophy is about independence, not teamwork. This makes it an awesome tool for researchers and developers who are really pushing the limits of AI. Just remember that it's still an experimental path.
And that leaves us with this huge, fascinating question to think about. As this tech gets more and more powerful, will the biggest breakthroughs come from one brilliant autonomous agent working on its own, or from a whole team of them working together? SuperAGI is making a very powerful bet on the power of one. Thanks for tuning in.